we have audio today. So, let me just introduce you to the both of us. I am not Benjamin, I am Russ Budden from E-Tabs, Head of Consultancy.
I am Jerome.
You are Jerome. Jerome, you're still the same person. No, I'm not. And let's, before we start, just address the elephant in the room, shall we? Why the orange trousers? No, not why the orange trousers, but why are me and Jerome dressed up as Indiana Jones? And it's not because me and Jerome are going to a cosplay convention after the Insight show. That's just a coincidence more than anything. But it's because, much like Indiana Jones in his movie The Last Crusade, when he was on the quest for the Holy Grail, we've been on our own quest recently for the data visualization Holy Grail. Now, market research is a really sort of strange industry in terms of the way it handles and visualizes data. And it means that it's been very tricky for us particularly to create a tool which will allow the market researcher to handle, manipulate and visualize market research data in an online world. And because of that, we've had to come through a number of trials and challenges, which coincidentally, considering the music in our outfits, were very similar to the ones that Indy faced in his quest. Well, kind of similar. Similar enough to warrant the purchase of a couple of hats and a couple of whips. So with the help of Indiana Jones, we're going to be taking you guys on an adventure, charting ours and Indy's challenges to our respective Holy Grails. Our Holy Grail has a name, or to give it its better title, our market research dashboard solution is called E-Tabs Iris. And now I'm going to pass over to Jerome and talk about why you joined forces.
So, unlike the 12 English guys that were around the round table and would never found the Holy Grail, Indiana Jones and his dad found it. Why did they find it? Because they were complementary. One had strengths, and as probably you there, you know, the other one had a bit more experience and a Scottish accent, and that's clearly me. I should maybe wear a tweed jacket. But we thought that there was a family fit between E-Tabs and Askia. On one side, you had E-Tabs that were fantastic. They're world leaders at data visualization with their PowerPoint software. And on the other side, we're not too bad at Askia with our DP software and our collection software. So together we were more than a sum of our parts. And that gave us a chance to progress on that quest. So, if you've seen the third installment of Indiana Jones, not everybody says it's the best, but you know it's a good one. You know it's better than the last one. Then, to find the Holy Grail, there's a number of trials that Indiana Jones and his dad and their friends have to do. And as we said, we got something pretty mirrored. The first one was the penitent must bow, and I'm going to let you watch that clip that luckily today we can see.
Before God.
See, so, you know, at one point when he's about to become like Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, he bows, doesn't get his head cut off. And there's a metaphor here. The fact that market research and DP is pretty much like a religion. First, there's like a big truth out there that you can't really find, but you hear about it a lot. There's also the original sin, that's collection bias, the fact that you don't do a random sampling. And then you got the prophets, you know, you got Nate Silver, and you got the prayer for holy Nate Silver who would say, you know, let me find the signal, keep me away from the noise, and lots of them. The thing there is that like a region, it's got those rules, those customs. And in market research, a percentage is not like any other percentage. To calculate it, you need to understand about the answering base, the universe. You need to know if the question is multiple. You need to take into account weighting. If at any point you try to do Polsig or try to look at significance, you need to be aware of overlap. In other words, whenever you calculate a percentage, you need information about the metadata, about the question structure. And that, you don't have it in a single query, and that's why it's so hard to make a BI tool work with market research data. So pretty much like Indiana Jones, we've bowed to our elders. We've respected Bayes and Laplace and Florence Nightingale and even Ed Ross, and we created a tool that respected those religious rules about market research.
So we've gone through the first challenge and survived. Now the second challenge in the movie, Indy has to identify letters on the floor and correctly sort of navigate his path, otherwise he plunges to his death. So let's see how he gets on.
In the light, don't you wait. Jehovah begins with an I.
So thankfully he survived, otherwise that would be the end of the talk. But we've got our own sort of challenge in market research in terms of letters, and that being statistics letters and displaying significance. I said at the beginning, but market research is really unique in terms of the way it handles sort of key data points of interest. And because of that, and not just significance, but things like low base sizes, netting, multi-response questions adding up to over 100%, that type of thing. These type of things are unique to market research as an industry. And because of that, traditional business intelligence tools that are available in the marketplace at the moment don't adequately address these. We as researchers know how they need to be visualized, asterisks, arrows, letters, that type of thing. And these tools can let you create arrows and asterisks and dots and things like that, but they're not natively built into the tool. You have to do some extra legwork and extra charts and extra bits of HTML code or Excel to make it work. In essence, what is something which is quite simple to do in an offline PowerPoint world for the researcher is more difficult in the online world. But that's not the case with Iris, with our new dashboard tool. It's built with the industry in mind, with market research industries as the primary users. So things like significance, things like low base sizes are all natively part of the toolkit. You click a button, it can remove the low base or indicate it with a red dot, whatever you want to do with it. So basically now, making something which is just as simple in the offline world, now as simple in the online world for a researcher to do. So he's 2 for 2 at the moment in terms of challenges. And now number 3, Jerome.
The leap of faith. So, ready to watch a clip. It's very scary. He doesn't die.
Leap of faith. Right. You must believe, boy.
So, there's a big gap, pretty much like the English tube, and there's going to be self-belief, which we have, and India's got it as well. And one for the Ministry of City Walks. So let me continue on that metaphor. He's got a bridge now, you get the idea, he's alive. On one side, we had whatever the cool kids do. And the cool kids do, I'm talking about you here, the guys at E-Tabs. They're using React, they're using 3D.js, they're using Angular, and all those beautiful things that makes a nice software, HTML or nice software very interactive. And on the other side, you have the boring us with the market research software, hundreds of options, but we needed to make one go to the other side. So we built a bridge. We didn't just build a bridge. What you want to do when you do a dashboard is to have your CRM data in there. You want your sales data. You want your advertising spend. You may want to aggregate Twitter accounts and lots of other things. So to do that, we didn't want just having one bridge that would bring data from outside. We needed a bridge that did not know where the data was coming from. An agnostic bridge, which makes sense when you got a leap of faith, does it? What we had is a way of bringing the data, because you've got your behavior data, that's the what. And then you got your market research data that increasingly becomes the why. And you want to understand how they work together. And what we've done is created something that's the name filters that lets you interact data that's not totally merged. So we got this loose coupling of data which lets you analyze it in an enterprise kind of way. So we didn't do one bridge, we did loads. So you got from Askia Vista, you got cross-tab aggregated data, live data. So as you collect your data, as your continuous surveys is happening, the dashboard updates every morning, and you've got also the rest of everything without having to retype your brands, your metadata, and everything. And you can still pivot, aggregate, filter, recalculate the percentage, and making sure that everything makes sense.
Cool. So Indy's, I think, shooting 3 for 3, same as us at the moment. Now there's one more challenge, and that is the old knight who's guarding the grail. So let's see how he gets on with him. So market research visualization has its own old knight, and that being PowerPoint. You know, some might see PowerPoint as being quite old and tired, but that's so far away from the truth. E-Tabs is report automation solutions are busier than ever. We've got a new PowerPoint infographic tool which people are loving in the conference, it seems, at the moment. The industry is really reliant upon PowerPoint. So we know this, and we've both been in the industry, Askia and E-Tabs, for over 20 years now, so we understand how these things have to work together. So in the clip, Indy could have easily knocked off the old knight, nice and easy, but he didn't. He respected him and worked with him to get the grail. And that's how we're positioning Iris with PowerPoint. We know the industry relies upon it, so we're working with PowerPoint rather than against it. So basically, as part of the toolkit in Iris, it includes native export and import into PowerPoint. So no longer will your dashboards be confined to uneditable screenshots, which you have to copy and paste into PowerPoint. It produces native PowerPoint exports, so you can take it offline and play with it. And also, it will auto-produce for every audience break in your dashboard, so giving you lots of charts to play with.
So what happens next? Well, let's be clear. The era of the debrief is gone, or is going. It's what Insights from Belgium talks about at every conference they go to. you don't want to have one meeting where you're going to end up at the end all the cross tabs in a large file. You want something where you can explore your data constantly, go back to it, and find those nuggets of insights on a regular basis. And those nuggets will come from verbatim at times and from aggregated data or anything else. And a dashboard, it's addictive. It's something that once you started to play with it, you need that data every morning. And well, that's truthful, which she did. She went for the shiny one here. You don't go for the first shiny one you find. You go for something that's solid and works and it's shiny as well. I mean, our tools, I mean, it's beautiful, but it's not shiny. So the problem is, like, if you try to take a BI dashboard tool to report data and market research data, you will do a reasonable amount of work in a reasonable amount of time, and you get to 60%. And at that stage, the software will no longer work for you, but it will work against you. You're going to say, well, I want a percentage here, and the system is going to say, oh, let's make sure that it adds up to 100%, which is not what you want. It was a multiple question. So you will spend a lot of time fighting the software, hard coding things to make sure that you got the right results. Hard coding means you can't have live data. It also means it's not scalable. It will be a nightmare. And the problem with the dashboard that's badly designed is, like, if you want to get the data out, most of the time what you need to do is a print screen where we export to PowerPoint. We may have mentioned that. So now you've chosen wisely. You can go for the shiny one, but for the true holy grail, and that's Iris. What do you do?
Exactly, what do you do? How do you get it out of the tomb? So in the movie, Indy's told not to take it beyond the sill, i.e. outside the tomb. And when they do, the whole thing crashes down and it stays in there forever. And in a weird way, that's how we see the industry's acceptance of current dashboard tools at the moment. And there's lots of barriers to entry why it's not going out of the procurement tomb and into the hands of the researchers. So things like pricing. Pricing is a big issue for traditional business intelligence tools. Spending 20,000, 30,000 easily on a tool before you've even started dashboarding, and you're chasing your tail to get the return on investment. You're buying designer licenses, viewer licenses, all to view the dashboards. Sometimes you're buying stuff for your client in terms of viewer licenses and then not even using them. It's wasted inventory. Iris is priced differently. The whole tool and everything we do around it is basically for the industry, for you guys. So we know the issues you have in terms of getting sign-off for IT budget and things like that. So dashboards, in terms of Iris, are priced on a per dashboard basis. You want one dashboard, you pay for one dashboard. If you want 10, you pay for 10. No additional cost for viewers or designer licenses. Okay? So it's almost like a pay-as-you-go type model, as I said. You can build it into your proposal costs, so it's covered. There's no massive expenditure at the beginning of the year as well. So hopefully we've got over that barrier. Responsive design. When I was building dashboards, I'd have to build maybe 3 different versions. A laptop one, an iPad one, and a phone version. And then do some clever HTML code to make sure the right one's shown. I might have the wrong browser or the wrong app, all these technical difficulties. But Iris has responsive design elements. So you build it once, and it will show on any device it's viewed on and any orientation. So again, speeding up the whole process. And Jerome already talked about the open architecture. We know the types of data you work with. We know it's a real bugger to get market research data into a business intelligence tool. I remember reading an article from a BI provider entitled "Get Your Data BI Ready." It was 38 pages long. A lot of processing is needed. That's not a case. We know the types of data you guys are working on, so we can work with it. If it's raw data, aggregated data, SQL, APIs, and all the ability, as Jerome said, to put one thing on top of each other, to tell real stories. That's the real power of dashboards. So hopefully, we've got through all those barriers of entry. Okay, and that's it. That's our chat today. We'd love you guys to come over and have a quick look at Iris in more detail. And if, find out more about your own challenges. If they're reporting challenges, visualization challenges, come and talk to us, E-Tabs. If it's analysis, questionnaire hosting, scripting, all that clever stuff, go and talk to Jerome and his team. We'd like to thank you for being here. And I suppose as your heroes of this adventure,
You're the hero.
Okay, as your heroes of this adventure, there's only one more thing we have to do, and that is just simply ride off into the sunset. So thanks very much for your time, everybody, and hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.